Thank you everyone who's joined our webinar today. As an introduction, my name is Trisha Carlos and I'm on the Partner Alliance team. Before we do get started, just a friendly reminder to enter this webinar as a training in your Engage app for points. These points will go towards your partner tier requirements. If you do have any questions throughout this training, please feel free to enter them in the Q&A section as well. And so today we have Paul Falcone and Henry Schmuel from our cloud teams to present our topic for today, which is I have a cloud service. Why do I need Checkpoint? Paul and Henry, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tricia, so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We appreciate your time very much. And so we will get to the point on this webinar and try to maximize our time with you and get you on your way for the day. We first like to really give a big thank you to being a Checkpoint partner, either new or existing. We appreciate you taking the time to choose Checkpoint as your vendor of choice. And today we're going to talk specifically about CloudGuard and the cloud product line that Checkpoint has and some of the things about our partner program that I think you'll be really interested in hearing about. So the first thing we would like to promote is the Cloud Mania Partner event that's going on until the end of this calendar year. And that is a program where you can use the Engage app or do a deal reg within your PMAP of Checkpoint and register all your deals. If the deal is under $50,000, then you get a $400 gift card. If it's over $50,000, then you get an $800 gift card. There's no limit on how many gift cards you can get. And it's not just for sales, but also SEs. And so we wanted to open up to everyone. There's a big incentive for the Cloud Mania program. So again, it goes to the end of this calendar year. There's also a couple prizes for the top producers, and I think the top prize is $2,500, and then the second prize is $1,500 for the top partners in the U.S. that provide the most deal regs and the highest deal count. So Cloud Mania is going on till the end of the year. This is Q4, and so we've seen a lot of action going on, but it does run through the end of the year. What we want to do is just highlight some of the Checkpoint facts, fun facts I call them, about Checkpoint. And we've been around a long time. Checkpoint has been around 27 years plus. And in that time, we've always been on the cutting edge of security. So what that means is our customers dictate to us what they need and what they want in cybersecurity. We could start with firewalls and we can go to other areas. And today it's all about the cloud. So we've been a global leader for a long time. We have 60,000 customers in the United States and Canada alone. And that is a really big customer base for you as partners to really look at and say, you know, Checkpoint must be doing something right. We have to get on this train and help them expand their cloud presence. You know, today we only have about 8% of our current customer base is on our cloud products. And so there's a lot of white space, a lot of great growth to come with Checkpoint, not only in our current customer base, but of course, our new customers as well. And I just want to highlight again, with Checkpoint, we're a 100% channel focused organization. So that means every deal that comes to us goes through the channel, 100%, no exceptions. We've been like that since day one, and we'll be like that going forward. And so our company is truly committed to the channel. You know, a lot of companies may fray from that and have a lot of gray area when it comes to the channel. Checkpoint, 100%. And so as you work with Checkpoint and we get leads and we distribute them, all the leads go through the channel. So that's something that you want to clearly talk about your CAM or our team about in the future. You know, Checkpoint, like I said, is around for a long time, but what people don't realize, and I didn't realize until I started working here, is that Checkpoint has 100 quarters of global growth, 100 straight quarters. So when you're talking about the fiscal markets or you're talking about a company and their growth patterns, you know, Checkpoint has a linear line continually going up quarter after quarter of growth. That's saying something about our reputation in the industry, but it's also saying that we can stay ahead of the bad guys continuously. So as we stay ahead of that game, you know, the bad guys will do things, but the good guys will do things better, and that's where we come in. Again, we have a worldwide presence, and so Checkpoint really has the ability to cover the globe, not only in cyber attacks and the ability to transition that information around the globe instantaneously, but also we have physical worldwide coverage of people on the street. And so when you look at global cyber solutions, Checkpoint is going to be the one in the forefront of that as well. So we just want to give you those highlights at Checkpoint, just to change a few perceptions out there and really just remind everyone what a cutting edge company Checkpoint's always been, and we plan to in the future. So with that, we really want to go over our product line a little bit, focus on CloudGuard today, and Henry's going to go over that with you now.
Fantastic. Thanks, Paul. Nice to meet everyone on the call. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Henry Chamoy. I'm the cloud sales specialist for Checkpoint. I work closely with Paul. As Paul alluded earlier, from a technology perspective, Checkpoint is a leading innovator in cybersecurity. And we have identified our technology or our innovation into 3 separate buckets. Bucket to the left is our Quantum. The middle bucket is our CloudGuard portfolio product offering, and the bucket to the right is our Harmony. Quantum basically gives you the ability to protect your physical infrastructure, your physical data center, your branch offices, your IoT devices. The Harmony, which is the bucket to the right, with digital transformation and the impact of COVID, really your workforce is remote. And being able to protect your desktop to laptop to mobile devices to tablets, protecting your Office 365 and G Suites, it's critical to your business. And then the bucket to the center, which we'll talk about today, it's our CloudGuard portfolio, is protecting your digital transformation, protecting your journey into the cloud, into AWS, into Azure, into Google or hybrid environment or multi-cloud environment. And we tie all these platforms, all these technology innovations together, and we bring them together into Threat Cloud, which is a global repository that tracks and monitors, on average, 100 million of cyber attacks worldwide each day, which is very, very unique to Checkpoint, only compared to anybody else in the industry. So again, three technologies. The Quantum is your physical data center. CloudGuard is your protecting your cloud. Harmony is protecting your workforce that's remote. And we bring everything together into our Threat Cloud, which is a repository of attacks that we have identified throughout the globe. Next slide, please, Paul. All right. Fantastic. It's loading a little bit slow, so bear with us, please, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the security challenges in the public cloud. When we talk to executives on a daily basis, they share with us some of the challenges that they see when it comes to protecting the cloud. These are just some of the challenges. I'm sure some of these will resonate with most of you on the call. But when it comes to number one challenge is really your increased attack surface. From a physical data center perspective, all your attacks have been around your DNZ zone. You invest in IPS, an IDS, or a firewall, any type of infrastructure gear to protect your DNZ zone. With cloud, unfortunately, you don't really have a DNZ zone. You have a north and south attack. You have an east and west attack. So, any engineer within your organization can start up a virtual instance, and that's going to get scanned by malicious attackers trying to look for vulnerabilities. So you got to worry about your north and south attack and the east and west attack. You have lack of visibility and tracking. I don't know what's in my cloud. I don't know how it's configured. Do I know how to enforce the right tagging policies? Those are some of the challenges around visibility and scaling into the cloud and tracking your environment. Ever-changing workloads. You have your engineers that are leveraging containers and Kubernetes. Are you able to scan those for vulnerabilities? Your DevOps and DevSec folks are, they're responsible to build faster and be agile. So you need to be able to automate that process and be proactive as opposed to reactive. And how do I do that? To make sure that the application that I'm building, they're actually protected prior to deployment as opposed to post-deployment. Granular privilege, key management, multi-cloud visibility. compliance and regulations? Am I compliant? Is the application compliant? So those are some of the challenges that VC executives are facing. When it comes to the cloud itself, you're right on track, Paul. Next slide, please. Great. So if you talk to any cloud provider, AWS, Azure, Google, they will all tell you a shared responsibility model. They actually preach it. What all these platform providers really are concerned is they want to make sure that all the customers, all the prospects leverage and their cloud and consume more of their services. So they will preach a shared responsibility model. They will tell you that the customer, you are responsible for the data. You are responsible for the platform. You are responsible for the operating system, the network, the configuration, the firewall. It's your responsibility to make sure that your applications are protected. However, the platform provider, the AWS, is going to be responsible for the actual platform to make sure that the compute, the storage is protected. So there is a shared responsibility model that they preach, and you need to be aware of that you are responsible for certain things, and the provider is responsible for certain things. Even this is actually validated by Gartner. If you go to the next click, Paul, even Gartner will tell you by 2025, 99% of all cloud security failures will be customers' responsibility. A configuration or misconfiguration of a server or an asset on the cloud is the biggest security breach to the brand and business.
And Henry, do you think it's fair to say to the partner their true value add in this model is their ability to convey this to end users and really sell the services around our tools? We give them the tools and then they can use those tools to help the end users. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, Paul, because I think, as I mentioned earlier, the platform providers like AWS and Azure, all they care about is for you to put more workloads up in the cloud. And the trajectory of your business growth, the more applications you put up in the cloud and more of those services you consume, you are in a way blindfolded. So you need a tool to give you ability to get that visibility. How are you scaling into the cloud? In what speed? Are you agile? Are you protected? Are your applications protected? Proactive mode or in your reactive mode? Those are all very, very important to the business. And to all the partners on the call today, the partnership with Checkpoint can really help empower you to have those conversations with the prospect with confidence, to be able to give them that peace of mind that they're looking for when it comes to scaling into the cloud and being able to automate that process and making sure these applications are protected.
We're going to move on now to some of the, I'll just build this out for you, Henry, but go ahead and talk about the initiatives.
Sure. When it comes to the cloud, some of the top cloud initiatives, obviously lift and shift is one of the biggest initiatives that we come across. What that basically means is they have their physical infrastructure and they migrating either to a hybrid environment or migrating to the cloud environment. You'll notice majority of your prospect or your partners and customers will have some sort of a hybrid environment. Either they have a physical data center, they want to start migrating some of those, the physical infrastructure into the cloud. With the migration comes the application development. Some of these applications that they have on the infrastructure, they will not be able to transfer over into the cloud. So they have to rewrite applications. That's the second part of the initiatives. And the compliance and governance. Think of this as an auditor. Do you have customized rules to deploy across multi-cloud? Do you have visibility into multi-cloud? How do you secure it? Are you compliant? How often do you need to be compliant? Once a year, once in a quarter? Are you a startup environment that's going to be that you're starting to look at a day that you're going to be public? You will get audited by the three firms out there. how are you making sure that your assets are compliant to help you with that, with the day of, initial public offering? The instant threat remediation. Is there an attack? How do you deal with it? How do you use incident response? How do you leverage your incident response team or your security operation team to fight these attacks? There's a process behind that, and Checkpoint can really help you automate that process and make the best ROI of your existing security tools. At the same time, automate the entire transformation process.
It's fair, Henry, to say that these questions just don't come up as a one-time thing, right? Hey, what's going on with compliance and governance? This is an ongoing reevaluation of their systems continuously for end users. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, when it comes to the cloud, you do not need to be compliant once a year. You need to be compliant all the time. And you need to have a tool to give you that ability to make sure, A, that you have the visibility that you're looking for to see what's out there, and B, making sure that what's out there is actually compliant all the time, as opposed to once a year. Once a year, it's a huge risk to the brand and business when it comes to compliance and security. So what Checkpoint has identified the cloud journey into three buckets. I would say the infrastructure, the microservices, and being able to automate, and what is a CI/CD pipeline. From an infrastructure perspective, you need to have, again, visibility, posture management, cloud intelligence. From serverless, microservices, making sure your containers, your serverless functions, your applications are protected. And 3 is your CI/CD pipeline. How are you able to integrate within your CI/CD pipeline to make sure that you are proactive and security is pre-deployment as opposed to post-deployment? So Checkpoint really has built out this shift left methodology where being able to integrate within your CI/CD pipeline to making sure that the application you're developing, your DevOps are developing, they're actually protected prior to deployment. That's the CI/CD pipeline integration. So again, 3 buckets: the infrastructure, making sure your assets are protected, giving you the visibility; microservices, making sure that your containers in Kubernetes and serverless functions are continuously protected; and automating that process, being able to integrate within your CI/CD pipeline and building out this shift left topology where can help you have security pre-deployment as opposed to post-deployment. So as far as the CloudGuard platform and as a whole, we have built out this platform as a defense in depth. So the foundation of you protecting your multi-cloud environment is having a network firewall that can auto-scale across multiple providers, all from a single point of glass. Being able to protect and give visibility into your Google, Azure, Alibaba, AWS, Kubernetes, multi-cloud in a single point of glass is the foundation of our platform. The next piece is our cloud security posture management, which gives you the ability to get visibility into the posture of your environment. It's an agentless solution that within minutes provides you granular visibility across all cloud assets, network topologies, firewall, across everything you have in the cloud. Provides you vulnerability assessment, misconfiguration, what is open, how was it configured? Can it be compromised? Is it compromised? It helps you with enforcing security best practices all in real time. As I alluded earlier, gives you the ability for continuously making sure your assets are compliant as opposed to post. Workload protection. It helps you keep in workloads that are containers or different environments protected. Continuously scan and auto remediate. Being able to seamlessly integrate within your CI/CD pipeline to making sure that, again, security is not the afterthought, is pre-deployment. Next piece is application. No more worrying about manually tuning your WAF. With artificial intelligence, you'll be able to reduce false positives and eliminate manual tuning of all WAFs. So protection around web application firewall, being able to protect your your login page, your protecting your APIs. Those are all the piece within the application performance. And lastly is our threat intelligence, which gives you the ability to enrich complex logs that you already have and shrink the average time to identify a breach from months to minutes. And you'll be able to automate the process and set alerts to your SOC team. So it really helps validate the logs that you already have and you send to your log analysis tool. There's a direct API connection to many of the log analysis tools where you have a direct partnership with, and enriches those logs. So again, the 5 pillars within the platform: the network, which is the foundation; the posture management is the compliance, asset discovery, vulnerability; the workloads is around applications that are different environments, for anything from containers and Kubernetes; application performance, protecting your web applications and APIs; intelligence gives you the ability to enrich the data that you already have, and you send that data, the right information to your log analysis tools. This is the defense in depth.
We always say that we have a security wrap around the cloud platforms. They have some security associated with those platforms, but this is really the difference between what the cloud providers can provide and what we do in terms of a holistic approach. Is that correct?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it all comes down to making sure your data is protected. What's in the cloud, and that's what this platform provides. It helps you automate, it helps you be proactive, and it helps you be agile across multiple cloud environments. You don't have to have a dedicated team to make sure that they're AWS certified or Azure certified. From a single point of glass, be able to set up rules in real time across multi-cloud environment and protect all your application. It helps you scale at a cloud speed.
I'm just gonna go ahead and build this out. Just go ahead and review a couple of them.
Sure. And lastly, really is cloud discovery questions, right? I think you will all notice that when it comes to the cloud, the responsibility model really starts changing and evolving. Your DevOps, your application engineers, your software engineers, your DevSec folks are taking over responsibility of protecting the applications a lot more. The old days, you had your IT team responsible for that. Nowadays, you notice some of your prospects might not even have an IT team. All the responsibility lies on your CTO, your engineering manager or engineering officer, software engineers. And the more they build these applications, they want to be able to be agile. They want to be able to scale at the speed of the cloud. So how are you getting that agility? First off, what kind of environment do you have? Are you on a multi-environment? Are you leveraging only Azure? Do you know who's leveraging Azure? All that ability, some of these questions really can help you to qualify your customers and prospects when it comes to the cloud journey. Who's responsible for driving your cloud business initiative? Is it your IT or is it your CTO or engineering team?
And these are the questions. We're gonna provide this deck at the end for you. But these are really the questions that if you're not asking your end user, somebody is. And so again, when you go back to your value add, what's it mean to the partner to have you as part of their system of deciding what to do? these are some of the questions that you may want to just learn. This isn't rocket science, right? You have to learn some basic understanding of this stuff and then just ask the very basic questions and see what they say. And if you're not doing it, somebody else is, and then they're going to get those answers. We want to make sure that you're positioning yourself to be that trusted advisor for the end user.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, every single organization is either leveraging the cloud, to my instance, and or they have some sort of a cloud journey initiative. The more and more assets they put in the cloud, the bigger environment they're leveraging, the bigger risk it is to the brand and business. And the value that Checkpoint can provide all of you on the call today is when you're having conversation with your prospects and your partners is being able to provide a security assessment. How is your cloud journey? How are you able to see what you have deployed in the cloud? Is your deployment configured right? Is it open? Is the S3 bucket open? Because with cloud, anybody can provide, there's malicious scanners out there that are just looking for vulnerability within your cloud environment. And with Checkpoint and partnering with Checkpoint, you'll have the ability to have that conversation with your prospect is, hey, this is a free security assessment. Let me show you how your cloud environment looks like. Let me show you where your vulnerabilities are. Let me show you how you're able to protect that.
That's a great lead into what we're offering today, Henry. Thank you. We have CloudGuard, and it's a free assessment tool. And that free assessment tool can go out and look at exactly what Henry was just talking about and give a full report back to the end user. In addition to that, we are going to offer a 2-month trial for end users and partners of our CloudGuard portfolio. So if you want to use it as a partner internally to test it on your own systems, but then offer it to end users, we are offering a 2-month trial. This is extended. Typically a trial is like 14 days, but we're offering 2 months today just because we want you to have some big incentive for joining the call today and really have something to go to market for. And so we're hoping that you take us up on it. 2-month trial for end users is a pretty big deal because you'll have a good analysis of their environment and be able to offer solutions to where they may have gaps.
And just to add to that point, keep this in mind that when it comes to the security assessment, we'll do all the heavy lifting. There's no, being up and running, it's less than 30 minutes. It's very seamless. The integration is seamless, scales at a cloud speed. And again, we'll do all the heavy lifting. We're here to support you and help you have those relevant conversations with the right stakeholders in the organizations.
Yeah, and there's 2 separate assessments, right, Henry? There's one that's just maybe a mirror of their environment, just to look at it. There's no real action. They just takes a view of it and then recommends actions. And then another one actually sits in their live environment.
Absolutely, correct.
Okay. So just to wrap it up, we'd like to maybe have something to do after this call. All right, great. We talked about CloudGuard. I understand the questions to ask about cloud. CloudGuard's a cool security wrap around the cloud services. Now what? What do we do? And really pushing that CloudGuard security assessment checkup is really a key. We've seen over 90% conversion rate of these assessments. When you turn the lights on, we like to say turn the lights on of an end user's environment to let them know maybe things that they don't know and identify vulnerabilities. And that is the key to understanding the environment and helping them find solutions to protect themselves. I can't tell you every week that we hear from IT guys call us and say, hey, we need help, keep me out of the papers, keep me out of the news. And that's really their tagline lately. This is a great way to start doing that. We have very strong relationships with cloud vendors, especially Microsoft and AWS. So please allow us to leverage those relationships for you. We have a Better Together campaign that we're running with Microsoft and AWS. If you're partial to one of those vendors, we can create a whole campaign around what we do with those platforms and what your value add is to the end users, and do webinars or live events based on that. One reminder as a partner in our program is deal reg, deal reg, deal reg. We can't emphasize that enough. I don't know what vendor doesn't always talk about deal reg, but always have deal reg as top of mind. It protects you as a partner, and it protects the end user, quite frankly. So deal reg, deal reg, deal reg. And again, always plan on doing a cloud strategy session. We don't expect you to be experts. You're selling hundreds of products a day. You don't need to know everything about every product, but you're the eyes and ears on the street. And so the key words that you learned today, the key items and subject lines are the ones that are going to make you more money. It's going to put more money in your pocket. It's going to solidify you as a value add to your end users, and it's going to solidify you into that account long term. And so we want to help you do that. It's really simple, just a couple little keynotes and phrases and subject lines, and then you'll be ready to go. So with that, Trisha, I'm going to turn it back over to you if you had anything else to add today. I'd like to thank Henry very much for taking the time to do this today with me and going through all the prep. When you see these presentations, you're like, oh, this is cool. You see a couple slides, but the amount of work that goes into slides can be daunting sometimes. And so I'm thankful for having Henry and Trisha help us today put this together. Trisha? So with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and that is going to conclude our presentation for today. Again, if you have questions for Henry or myself, oh, sorry, let me see if there is one question here. So there's a question, and it just says, just to reiterate, if an end user has AWS or Microsoft security tools, do you still need checkpoints? Apparently you do from this, and the answer is yes, you do. That's a security wrap. They do have some security products, some of them overlap with ours, but in general, they haven't reached the full range of security tools that we offer at Checkpoint, and that's why we partner with them quite a bit. So with no other questions, we can conclude today's session. So thank you again so much for everything. We really want to thank you for your time. Oh, sorry, there's one more question. Henry, I don't know if you can see it, but is there specific comparisons between cloud security native tools and CloudGuard?
There are a lot of differentiators. As you alluded earlier, we have that direct partnership with AWS. Actually, when it comes to AWS and Microsoft, they actually really promote our Better Together story because they see there's a lot of enhancements and differentiators that Checkpoint provides from customized rule sets, because when it comes to AWS and Microsoft will provide some security rules, but it's a very, very limited. With Checkpoint, you'll be able to write your own rules, customize rule set, customize compliant frameworks that, for instance, NIST, PCI, SOC, HIPAA, some of the stuff might not be available through your platform provider, but Checkpoint provides that and really helps you automate that across multi-cloud as opposed to a single cloud.
Thank you, Henry. Great answer. And then also there was a question about having the slide deck at the end of this. Yes, we will send the slide deck out, so everyone will have a copy of this. And then if you have questions further, I'd encourage you to take this deck and just use it as a reference point, just not for Checkpoint, but in cloud in general, because the end user is going to be asking these questions anyway. So with that, we'd like to conclude a little bit early today and give you some time back. We try to make it our mission here at Checkpoint to do that and not to go right up to the time, so you have a couple minutes in your day. So we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy days. We appreciate it, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.